Hello my darlings, and welcome to today's vlog, where we look at weird worlds, dark magic and dystopias. Today I'm here to talk to you about short books, from haunted reincarnations and spooked possums to soul-scrubbing janitors and cosmic horror. These books might be small in page count, but they'll linger like a ghost in your ribs, so let's dive in. As usual, I do try to only recommend books that are less than 200 pages. As usual, I will list the books in order of least enjoyment to most enjoyment personally. It's just my personal enjoyment level. But we'll start with The Cleaners by Ken Liu. So this clocks in at 33 pages. Some messes linger even after the cleaners leave. In this book, you have an everyday scenario, janitorial work, and it turns into an exploration of memory, trauma, and invisibility. The story follows a team of cleaners, so there's 3, and they're tasked not only with tidying physical spaces, but also with scrubbing away the psychic residues, emotional imprints, memories, and energies left behind by people and events. The book is a social commentary on how people deal with trauma, and it's most often by trying to sanitize or forget it. In this book, the cleaners are both essential and invisible, much like the emotional labor or caretaking expected in real life. This is how people cope with the pain, loss, and messy remnants of the human experience. I felt like there was a tender sorrow to the narrative. It's not really an uplifting book. And as I said previously, it's about memory and the desire to forget. It's about the unseen and unappreciated work that holds up society and the quiet resistance that can be shown through the act of choosing to remember. I thought it was good, but read it if you like wiping away the remnants of the day, shiny new phones, and outsourcing the dirty work. Hello, Bluebell. I just realized I've got a giant rainbow on my face. Is that better if I move away from the rainbows? Hello, sweetie. The next book I picked up was Lullaby for a Lost World by Aliette de Bodard, and this is 14 pages. Even in a dying world, lullabies can become battle cries. This is a gothic tale suffused with dream-like decay, defiance, and the power of resistance and rage. In this world, it is dying, and to survive, the rich feed their house with the blood and pain and death of girls. It's about sacrifice and survival, and who is sacrificing and whom is benefiting from it. The prose in this is lush, atmospheric, and sensuous, weaving horror and beauty in equal measure. The unnamed protagonist is both a victim and then a haunting force of nature determined to end this cycle with her. It's a horror story about what survives horror. I enjoyed this, but the ending came on mad fast. There was just some collateral damage that didn't make sense to me. I guess in the protagonist's blind rage, she didn't care who she struck out at. She was just a maelstrom of fury and vengeance. Read it if you like The Last Unicorn, Rising from Your Grave, and Skewering Retribution. The next book I picked up is We Called Them Giants by Kieran Gillen, Stephanie Hans, and Clayton Cowles. I'll just quickly show you some of the art style so you can see what it's like. So in this book, we follow Laurie, putting that down. And Laurie is a teenage girl who wakes up to find her world eerily deserted. Almost everyone has disappeared, and as she's navigating the ruins of civilization, she encounters Annette, who is a fellow survivor, former schoolmate of hers, and together they also run into a tough old lady, and together they face threats from predatory gangs and mysterious creatures known as wolves. Their fight for survival against both foes leads them to alien giants who descend from the sky. And there's a big red guy and a big blue guy. The red guy sees them first, and I guess in his perspective, he sees these small little people, and he decides he wants to adopt them and take care of them and protect them from ever and ever. And the issue is that Laurie has trust issues. The other two companions of her group quickly attach and befriend the tall red giant, but Laaby is hella sus, and it takes longer for her to let her guard down because she's grieving for what she's lost. She's struggling to survive in the desolation, and she is suspicious of all strangers, including giants who bring good soup. Visually in the book, the giants are a splash of color in an otherwise bleak and drab world. And in this silent world of ruins and giants, connection is the last act of hope. The story is melancholic and tense, but a lot is not explained in regards to the giants themselves, which bummed me out. I wanted to know more about these giants, where they came from, what they were doing here, what their purpose was. And I have to say too, the apocalyptic event is not explained, so none of the world building is explained. This is more about the visual deliciousness and the touching story of friendship and teamwork and sacrifice. It did hit me in the feels in the end. Read this if you like girl gangs, gentle giants, and snowdrops. I forgot to mention the page number, 104. The next book I picked up is The Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker, and this is 160 pages. Desire opened the door. Horror walked through. This is a semi-erotic horror novel that was the inspiration for the movie Hellraiser, which I watched at far too young of an age. I have thankfully blocked out most of it, but I still remember Pinhead. I was a typical millennial 80s baby in that our parents' form of parenting was just to allow us to sit in front of the television and watch whatever. Yeah, so I saw all of the classic horrors of the 80s and 90s. This story pulls you into a world where lust becomes a trap and pleasure is bought at a bloody cost. The story follows Frank. Frank is a man driven by the pursuit of extreme pleasures. He needs that extra spice. He needs to push further than his fellow man, and this leads him to find this elusive box called the Le Marchand configuration. It's a puzzle box, and it summons the Cenobites, and the Cenobites are entities who offer experiences beyond mortal comprehension. Let's just say their idea of pleasure is something a little different to Frank's. Frank has now become trapped, and his only chance of escape lies with his brother's wife, Julia, whom he had had a previous liaison with and whom has sordid desires of her own. This book features not just supernatural torment, but also the grotesque lengths humans will go to for desire, love, and escape. This ain't your ordinary love affair. Oh boy, Frank went all in with this. The summoning spell alone should have jerried him on to perhaps maybe what he should have really expected, but no, Jerry was like, I'm all in at this point, slaughtered a dozen pigeons, collected a jar of my piss, I'm good to go. But boy, oh boy, I believe that Frank definitely has buyer's remorse, because as any girlie who's left her vibe on a little too long knows, too much pleasure can become a lot of pain. And in this book, pleasure certainly is a double-edged sword. The tone of this book is gothic, grotesque, philosophical, and I was surprised by the prettiness of the writing. I wasn't expecting it. The author masterfully fuses literary horror with splatter punk imagery, and it's both sensual and terrifying. It's obsession wrapped in blood and velvet. Desire will undo you. I thought this was just a really well done horror book. I was creeped out, okay? I was just terrified of these Cenobites. Frank himself became a terrifying thing. Julia too. They all were warped by their desire into something monstrous. And look, there was an innocent character involved in this. I'm not going to talk about them. I think it's good to have some things as a surprise. And oh my God, my heart was racing for them to be able to extricate themselves from this clusterfuck. I really enjoyed this. Read it if you like S&M, banging brothers, and your flesh being a doorway to damnation. The final book that I read for this reading vlog and my favorite read was Past Lives by Leah Dodd. This clocks in at 95 pages. Catch the Bus to IKEA and Shapeshift. This is a poetry collection that delves into themes of motherhood, housing precarity, politics, growing up in the late 90s, early 2000s, and personal transformation. The opening poem, Soulmates, sets the tone for the collection, and it features a vivid encounter with a possum, symbolizing themes of entrapment and desire for escape. I loved it. It was one of my favorite poems of the collection. We've also got Tether, which explores the transformation of identity through motherhood, tips for lockdown wellness, which addresses the challenges of isolation during the lockdown, brought to life with the help of the tiger who came to tea. I wonder how many of you are familiar with that childhood book. And I love Keats' 69, which I am going to read to you because it's probably my favorite, which reflects on the nostalgia of early internet culture, contrasting it with the present digital landscape. It's domestic life meets astral projection, motherhood memes and moments of dark millennial hilarity. This had me lolling with random lines like, "I was only ever patriotic for Genovia." So get in, loser, and let's talk about our collective trauma. I am going to read I Love Keats 69 to you. I will say this is slightly reminiscent of my favorite poetry collection thus far I've read in my life, which is Hera Lindsay Bird. Poets should have great punchy passwords like Vagina Wolf 3000 or Poem 6. Passwords should include a haiku, a hieroglyph, and the blood of a virgin, but not in a Jennifer Bodies sort of way, more in a cute, pixelated Minecraft way. Every time a poet enters a password, a fairy should die. I mean, they should be reminded of why they write, and the reason is, of course, for the lols. It's always for the lols. I know the lols. I was a child of the 90s, which means I was 3 in the millennium. So really I was a child of the early noughts, which means my siblings dressed me up in silver platform pulps and a wedding veil, which means I remember dial-up. Oh, I remember those slow melodic beeps, each beep taking you closer to Club Penguin. I remember the library-issued disk drive games where a sexy lion guides you through a castle and teaches you to read. I was born knowing how to read. In fact, I was removed from my mother's womb with a copy of Finnegan's Wake in my hand. Yes, that's right. That's a lie. But I did read it to impress a boy who definitely had not read Finnegan's Wake. If I was a proper poet, my password would be Rhyme or Die 1997 or Internally Rhyming 69. I would enter it into my Habbo Hotel account and then make my blocky little avatar blonde and hot, inviting all the boys and girls to the rooftop, where we would lie parallel on a 2-dimensional bed and say things like, "What you wear in IRL," and "I like your huge tits." There is a picture of me sitting straight backed at the computer desk, hand resting on the mouse as if on the shoulder of a loved son. I have the smile of a cool god who just thought up oil, and my hair is pushed back in a lilac headband, eyes heavy-lidded, even before the 4-hour stint on Neopets. I am so pleased in this picture. It's as if I am bathing in the warmth of unearthing lost treasure. It's as if I am a long-ago queen being fed bits of early internet like figs and magic wishes on a silver tray. Yeah, I loved it. I love this book of poetry. Read it if you like RuneScape, picking pimples, or doing lines with your library card. Let me know if you've read any of these or what strange short book has left its mark on you. So those are all the books today. I am going to the doctor. I'm so sorry about the noise. It annoys me probably as much as it annoys you. I'm going to the doctor to do more blood tests. I'm not looking forward to it. I know I was meant to do the carnivore diet leading up to this, but life was just too complicated and stressful enough for me to go on restricted diet. So hopefully the medication and shit she gave me was enough to make a difference. I am feeling better. My voice is not as unreliable, less throat hoarseness, and a bit more energy. And despite the fact I had extreme stress in April, I do feel better physically than I had previously. So yeah, I'm hoping those iron levels are up and everything's improving. Things can only get better. So yes, I'm going to do that, and then to reward myself afterwards for the traumatic experience of doctors and blood tests, I am going to take myself out for lunch and also head to the library to grab some books. But before I leave you, I am wearing a perfume. So today's perfume is Fire, and it's by The Maker. And Fire is unapologetically primal. From the first spray, it evokes a smouldering heat of a bonfire long after the flames have died down. It's smoky and woody, and the embers dominate. But this perfume is very dark, resilient. So I'm doing my little story first. So this is what I can pull from really exploring the notes and the way the perfume develops over time. And I'm going to leave it with my initial reaction. So the first thing that pops into my mind when I first sniff, okay, because that can be very different to what eventuates as I let the perfume sit. And like I said, I really break it down into its components. So when I first smelled this, the thing that came into my head was, I feel like this is what Johnny Depp smells like. Smoky, spicy, and rum soaked. It's very seductively addictive. I would say that it is unisex, but it is a bit heavy on the tobacco. So for me, it does lean more masculine. But the book that I would pair this with is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas, because it's smoky, smoldering, and dangerous. Revenge forged in fire. So that is the perfume review for the day. And I will leave you with my adventuring. That her investigator is Scarpetta. Nova's being cute, one sec. Num num num. Okay, so I decided that I wasn't in a good enough mental headspace to go grocery shopping, because that's not an activity I enjoy. So yeah, I was all frazzled. It was an hour and 10-minute wait to be seen, and then the 10 minutes of the doctor's appointment, and then yeah, it took them 10 minutes to tell me, oh no, pathology's gone home for the day. So you'll either have to find a clinic where it's still open, because for some reason most pathology in GP's offices, they close around 12 o'clock. So they're only there in the morning for a few hours. So I thought, yeah, I'm not getting the blood test done today. I'm not driving around trying to find a place and then sitting and waiting in a waiting room again. That's out. I'll do that tomorrow. I will go grocery shopping tomorrow when I'm in a better, when I have more energy and joy. So I thought, let's just do something that's going to make me happy. Because yeah, I don't have time anymore either to go to a cafe, because it's, you know, peak time now. It's after 1, and I don't want to be rushing to pick up Indiana. So I went to the library, because it's my happy place, and I get, the serotonin and dopamine boosts from new books. So, and I did, besides going to get blood test forms so I can redo my blood tests for my conditions, I did go in to ask them about my really sore thumb, which has been sore for 6 weeks now, and I know it's not arthritis. They also believe that it's not a fracture. They think it's just persistent inflammation. And she said that she wants me to take ibuprofen. She knows I don't really like taking stuff, but she's like, I want you to take it and see if the inflammation goes down. And if it's still persistently sore in 4 weeks' time, we will get an x-ray done. But she's like, if you can, try not to use it. And I'm like, babes, so just type with one hand, use my mouse with my left hand, read with just my left hand. I don't know how do you not use your right thumb? She did say I could splint it just so it doesn't move, because most of the pain comes from when it moves. If it's just sitting there, there's no constant pain. It's just as soon as I move it, it hurts. Anyway, I'll figure it out, I will figure it out. We'll see. Anywho, let me show you the bounty of books I got. So I got a lot. All right, so we've got I Hate Everything, relatable, by Sophie Henn. That's for indie, obviously. I've got Parakeet by Marie Helen Bertino. I've got A Ghost in the Throat. I can't say, I'm guessing it's Welsh or Irish. Dorian Grufa. I don't know how to pronounce the name. I'm sorry, but like the cover looked really interesting. I love florals on covers. When we first met, I was a child and she had been dead for centuries. I'm like, would you not be captivated? Nova's being so cute. Nova's being so cute. I got The Crying Book by Heather Crystal. So a lot of these were cover grabs. I don't even know what it's about. I just saw the book cover and said yes. Yeah, nah. We've got Rune, A Tale of a Thousand Faces. So this looks like a really cute middle grade or YA. Oh, just look at the color story in this. So adorbs. Love it. Do I have lipstick on my teeth? Nova Moon. Nova, I can't with you right now. You're being so adorable. You're just going to go sleep? Okay. She's going to sleep on, oh my God, Beta Podcast. Have already read this, the physical book, obviously. I forget majority of the time to cancel either the ebook or the physical book or the audio of what I reserve. So I reserve whatever they've got, all types of copies, and then that way increase my chance of getting it sooner. I always forget to go through, it's not a big deal. I'll return it tomorrow. We've got Estella's Revenge, the fearless daughter of great expectations. I don't know if this is for me, but once again, it was another cover grab, skulls and flowers. Hello, Sylvie. Oh, got another one for Indy. She's gonna love this. Buzzcat by Sarah Speedy and Tom Gillett. Like I said, I normally only show you books if they're good. Wait, let's look at a picture. Let's see what the inside of this looks like, because this looks like more my thing. Oh, it's super cute. And Dark Matters by Simone Brown, On the Surveillance of Blackness. So we'll see. Like I said, I try to read everything. And if I'm not enraptured, it goes. And then we've got Can't Spell Treason Without Tea by Rebecca Thorne. My library got a sprayed edges edition, which is so unusual. I like it though. I know people don't care about single sprayed edges, but I do. I like it. I like the pop of color. So I don't think this will be my cup of tea because it's very cozy, and I think people said it's like Legends and Lattes, and yeah, they just don't do anything for me. I need stakes, I need excitement, I need plot. So, but we'll see. I think this is lesbianic. Raina and Chianti, yeah. So, sapphic and tea and books. I have to at least try. You know what I mean? But my boobs are boobing today. You ever have that, like, it's because I'm on my period and they always swell up painfully, but they look great. That's everything for this vlog. Until next time, stay well, Star Child.